Chapter 1. You're already who you think you aren't yet. You've spent so much of your life thinking the future version of you is some distant, unreachable god, some mythical creature, some other you with better habits, more discipline, a sharper mind, a cleaner routine, a healed heart, and a life that finally makes sense. You keep saying, one day. Like the version of you who wins is living somewhere far away, waiting for the stars to line up before they check in. But here's the truth nobody ever told you. You are already becoming that person, and faster than you think. Let me break that down. Most people believe confidence is a reward, something you get after you win, after you heal, after you glow up, after the success arrives. But confidence is not a reward. It's a role you step into. It's a character you choose to embody long before the external proof shows up. And here's the plot twist. The external proof only shows up after you play the role. Life moves in the direction of your self-perception. Say it again. You don't rise above the person you believe you are. You rise into them. When you move like you've already won, something wild happens. Life starts rearranging itself around you. Opportunities shift. People treat you differently. Rooms feel smaller because your energy feels bigger. Doors open that were never even visible before. Not because you magically became someone new overnight, but because you finally stopped moving like you were unworthy of what you wanted. Let's be real for a second. You already know what losing feels like. You've lived in doubt. You've lived in fear. You've lived in your head so long you could pay rent there. But the version of you who wins, they are not a stranger. They are not far away. They're not waiting 10 years from now for some perfect alignment. That version of you is standing right behind your current self like a shadow, patient, unbothered, powerful, whispering, "You're closer than you think." When you finally stop waiting to feel ready, you unlock a new era. Because here's another uncomfortable truth. Readiness is a lie. Nobody ever feels ready. They get tired of watching life pass them by. They get tired of playing small. They get tired of shrinking, doubting, hesitating, and procrastinating. There is a moment you've felt it, where something inside you wakes up and says, "I'm done acting like I'm not chosen." That's the moment transformation starts. Not when the circumstances change, but when you change your posture toward your life. Think about how you walk into a room when you feel confident. Your shoulders shift. Your breath steadies. Your energy expands. Nothing about the room changed, you did. That's the secret to moving like you've already won. It's an internal shift that creates an external ripple. Winning is emotional. It's mental. It's energetic. It's spiritual. You don't wait until you have the dream car, dream weight, dream bank account, dream peace, dream partner, dream discipline, or dream life to feel victorious. You feel victorious first, and then your life mirrors that energy back to you. Look around at your life right now. Everything you've made it through, all the pain, the lessons, the heartbreaks, the confusion, the resets, the setbacks, none of it killed you. All of it built you. And whether you realize it or not, you've already been moving toward the higher version of you this entire time. Even when you took breaks, even when you fell off, even when you doubted yourself so hard you thought you ruined everything. Progress isn't loud. It's subtle. It shows up in the little choices. Choosing to get up. Choosing to try again. Choosing to care about yourself. Choosing something better, even when the old version of you is begging you to go back. You're not behind. You're evolving, quietly, steadily, powerfully. So here's the mindset shift the chapter wants you to tattoo on your soul. You don't become the future, you remember them. You return to them. You realign with them. You embody them. The winner inside you isn't created. They're awakened. And the moment you start moving like you've already won, the universe shifts. People shift. Your reality shifts. Because now, everything recognizes you as who you truly are, not who you used to be. This is your new starting point, your new posture, your new frequency. From this moment forward, move like you've already won, because in a way you can't even see yet, you have. Chapter 2. Your future self is calling. Answer the damn phone. There is a version of you that already has the life you want. Not a fantasy, not a dream, A real, energetically alive version of you that lives in a timeline where everything finally makes sense. They're confident. They're disciplined. They're healed in ways you don't even have language for yet. They've let go of the people you're still trying to understand. They've mastered habits you're still fighting with. They speak with clarity you haven't unlocked yet. And here's the wild part. They've been trying to get your attention. You've felt it, those moments where something inside you says, this isn't who you're supposed to be anymore. Or those hits of intuition that say, move, shift, it's time. That's your future self calling. That's your higher identity trying to pull you forward. Most people ignore that call. They send it to voicemail. They convince themselves they need more time, more certainty, more proof. But evolution doesn't wait for you to feel comfortable. Destiny does not operate on your fear schedule. And the future you, they are tired of waiting for you to show up. Imagine this. Your future self walks into the room right now. They sit across from you, calm, powerful, glowing in a way you can't fake. And they look at you with a mix of pride and impatience. They'd say, you have no idea how close you are. Stop playing with your potential. The only thing standing between us is your hesitation. Because if you could see how your life unfolds once you start acting like the person you're meant to be, you would stop wasting time instantly. You would stop overthinking. You would stop self-sabotaging. You would stop dating people who drain you. You would stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You would stop hiding your talent, your voice, your calling. Your future self is not some perfect, flawless hero. They're simply you with fewer excuses. They got where they are because they finally decided to stop betraying themselves. See, the distance between your current self and your future self is not measured in years, it's measured in choices. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you step closer. Every time you choose healing over repeating patterns, you step closer. Every time you choose boundaries instead of people-pleasing, you step closer. Every time you choose consistency over chaos, you step closer. And every time you choose faith over fear, you collapse the timeline between you and the life you're meant for. Here's the truth you don't want to admit. You already know what your future self would do. You know what habits they'd have. You know what standards they'd set. You know what people they would never entertain. You know what routines they'd follow. You know how they'd carry themselves. You don't lack knowledge. You lack alignment. This chapter isn't here to shame you. It's here to remind you that the version of you who wins is not a mystery. You've met them before in moments of clarity, in moments of strength, in moments of courage that came out of nowhere. That was the real you leaking through the cracks. Your potential has always been louder than your excuses. You just stopped listening. Let's talk about intuition for a second. Intuition is the voice of your future self, talking to you through the present moment. It's the connection between who you are and who you're meant to be. It's the spiritual GPS trying to guide you toward alignment. But when you're surrounded by noise, people projecting their fears onto you, habits keeping you small, environments with no growth, cycles that numb you, intuition gets drowned out. You're not lost. You're just out of signal range. But the moment you silence the noise even for a few minutes, you start hearing instructions again. Your future self whispers, turn left. Let that go. Choose you. This isn't for you anymore. Stop delaying your own breakthrough. And when you actually listen, your life shifts in ways that feel supernatural. Here's a secret most people never learn. Your future self isn't pushing you, they're pulling you. They're not yelling from a mountaintop telling you to climb. They're reaching down with their hands saying, come up here. There's more for you. Everything you want already exists on a timeline where you said yes to yourself. And the more you align with that energy, the faster you collapse that distance. This chapter is your wake-up call. Stop rejecting the version of you that's trying to save your life. Your future self is stronger, wiser, calmer, bolder, more intentional, more powerful, more aligned, more disciplined, more whole. And they're not waiting on a miracle, they're waiting on you. So answer the damn phone. Pick up the call from your future. Let that version guide your decisions. Let them speak through your intuition. Let them become your default identity. From this point forward, You move with one truth. The future you isn't the goal. They're the blueprint. You just have to follow it. Chapter 3. Discipline is self-respect in action. People talk about discipline like it's punishment, like it's suffering, restriction, misery, and missing out. But that's because most people only understand discipline from the perspective of someone who's never respected themselves enough to stay consistent. Here's the truth. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about honoring yourself. It's not a prison, it's a promise. And the version of you who keeps that promise, that's the version of you who wins. Think about it. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, I'll get serious next week, I'll do better eventually, you're sending a message to your mind. I can't trust myself. And your mind believes you. But when you show up even a little bit, even imperfectly, your mind updates that identity. It says, I'm the type of person who keeps going. I'm the type of person who follows through. I'm the type of person who doesn't fold. That identity shift is everything. Because discipline isn't a skill, it's a relationship. And the relationship you build with yourself determines the standard of your entire life. Let's go deeper. Most people fail, not because they can't change, but because they keep abandoning themselves whenever things get uncomfortable. Self-betrayal is the root of stagnation. You want confidence? Respect yourself. You want a glow up? Respect yourself. You want peace? Respect yourself. You want success, love, alignment, abundance? All of it begins with the same foundation. Self-respect in action equals discipline. Not motivation, not hype, not inspiration. Those things fade. They're emotional. They're temporary. Discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on who you are. Anyone can be consistent when life feels easy, but discipline is forged in the moments when your future matters more than your comfort. Let me tell you something a lot of people don't want to hear. You don't lack discipline, you lack standards. Your comfort zone is loud. Your excuses are loud. Your distractions are loud. Your dopamine addictions are loud. But your calling is louder if you let yourself hear it. Discipline isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing what matters, repeatedly, until it becomes who you are. It's small. It's unglamorous. It's repetitive. It's the decision to choose alignment over impulse. That's where your new life is built. Think of your goals as a relationship. If you treated another person the way you treat your dreams, canceling plans, showing up late, ghosting them when you're stressed, they'd leave you. Your dreams feel the same way. But the moment you start showing up consistently, even in small ways, your goals stop running from you and start moving toward you. That's why discipline feels magical when it clicks. Because suddenly, life responds to your momentum. Your mind sharpens. Your energy rises. Your priorities shift. Your confidence grows. Your vision expands. Your distractions lose their power. And then you realize, it was never about the task. It was about who you became while doing it. You don't practice discipline to suffer. You practice discipline to evolve. Now, let's address the part nobody likes to talk about. Discipline requires grief. You have to grieve the version of you who didn't try, the version who was inconsistent, the version who made excuses, the version who numbed their potential with distractions and procrastination, the version who kept saying, soon, while life passed by. That version of you had to die, so the upgraded version could live. It's okay to mourn that person. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. Evolution always feels like losing something until you realize what you gained. And what you gain is this: a life you finally feel proud of, a mind you trust, a rhythm that feels aligned, standards that protect you, habits that build you, and a future that reflects your effort, not your intentions. Here's the final truth of this chapter. Discipline is love. It's choosing the life you want over the moment you're in. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. It's choosing responsibility over regret. It's choosing the version of you who wins over the version who waits. Every act of discipline is a vote for your future self. Every rep, Every step, every page, every early morning, every boundary, every no, every not today, every I'm staying focused, every I deserve better, all of it shapes your identity. And identity is destiny. So from now on, every time discipline feels hard, remind yourself, I'm not punishing myself, I'm protecting my future. And that future? It's closer than you think. Chapter 4. You don't rise until you release what anchors you. There's a version of you trying to lift off, but you're still tied to things that weigh more than you admit. People, habits, memories, expectations, old identities you've outgrown but still cling to because they feel familiar. Patterns you swear you're done with until they whisper your name again. Let's be real for a second. You can't elevate while carrying dead weight. You can't evolve while dragging your old self behind you. You can't grow when your heart is still entangled with what broke you. Every version of you you've been up to this moment has served a purpose, even the messy ones, even the insecure you, even the confused you, even the version of you that settled, tolerated too much, stayed too long, cared too hard, or accepted the bare minimum. That version was surviving. But surviving is not the same as rising. And rising requires a different posture. It requires subtraction, not more effort, not more motivation, not more noise. Letting go is the real glow-up. You want to rise? You must release what anchors you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Let's start with the hardest thing, to accept. Some people can't go where you're going. Not because they're bad, not because you're better, but because their energy is incompatible with your elevation. Their version of you is outdated. They only know the you who tolerated everything, the you who doubted yourself, the you who stayed small to keep the peace, the you who dimmed your strength so they wouldn't feel insecure. When you rise, it threatens the comfort of the people who benefited from your old identity. So they'll pull, they'll question, they'll minimize, they'll laugh. They'll doubt you out loud, hoping you'll join them in the limitation. You must release them anyway. Why? Because your calling is louder than their comfort. Your destiny is bigger than their familiarity. Your future is too expensive to pay with your past. Let them go. Next, let's talk about the silent anchors, the ones nobody sees. Your old self. The version of you that apologizes for everything. The version that overthinks until opportunities rot. The version that accepts attention instead of waiting for genuine effort. The version that keeps reopening old wounds, hoping the outcome will magically change. You have to grieve that person. You have to thank them for getting you this far. You have to let them die gracefully so the evolved you can breathe. You cannot carry the person you used to be into the life that's waiting for you. Let them go. Then there are the mental anchors, limiting beliefs. The stories you tell yourself that were never your stories to carry. The expectations placed on you by people who don't even live the life they advise. Narratives that were projected onto you when you were too young to defend your spirit. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. You're just like your parents. You'll never do better. Stay where it's safe. Don't change too much. Every one of those statements was a chain. And because they said it with confidence, you treated their limits like truth. But limits are inherited. Truth is chosen. So choose again. Then we have the emotional anchors, the heavy ones. Hurt, disappointment, betrayal, abandonment, self-blame. You can't rise if your inner world is still bleeding in places you refuse to acknowledge. Healing isn't about pretending it didn't happen. Healing is removing the emotional weight so you can move freely again. It's recognizing that pain was part of your construction, not your identity. You are not what happened to you. You are what you learned from it. And you are who you become after you decide the pain won't be your story. Let it go. Finally, there is the most subtle anchor of all. Comfort. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels warm. Comfort feels familiar. But comfort kills more dreams than failure ever could. You cannot rise inside the same environment you broke yourself in. You cannot expand in places that reward stagnation. You cannot grow around people who fear your evolution. You cannot elevate while clinging to routines that drain you. Comfort is an anchor disguised as peace. Release it. Here is the truth this chapter wants you to feel in your bones. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is choosing. Choosing alignment over attachment. Choosing clarity over chaos. Choosing your future over your history. Choosing your destiny over your distractions. Choosing your soul over your suffering. When you release what anchors you, something beautiful happens. Your spirit rises on its own. Your energy sharpens. Your path clears. Your intuition gets louder. Your confidence grows. Your mind expands. Your entire reality shifts to match the version of you you're becoming. Letting go is hard until you realize you were never meant to carry all that weight anyway. This is the chapter where you finally give yourself permission to rise. And once you rise, you never go back. Chapter 5. Move in silence until the noise becomes unnecessary. There's a version of you that talks too much. Not out loud, but in your plans, your dreams, your intentions. You announce things before they're rooted. You speak on visions that aren't strong enough to survive other people's energy yet. And here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves early access to your transformation. Elevation requires quiet. Growth requires secrecy. Self-mastery requires privacy. There are chapters of your life that aren't meant to be shared. They're meant to be built. Let me explain why. When you speak too soon about what you're becoming, you expose your dreams to people who don't have the capacity to understand them. They'll question you, project their fears onto you, minimize your ambition because it threatens their comfort, mock your process because they can't imagine themselves evolving. Every time you give someone like that a front row seat to your becoming, your energy leaks. You don't need their opinions, you need your momentum. The new you thrives in silence because silence is where power grows. Think about a seed. It doesn't sprout in the sunlight. It doesn't announce that it's becoming a tree. It grows underground, hidden, protected, unseen. Only after it builds roots deep enough to carry its weight does it break through the surface. That's you. You're in your rooting season. This chapter of your life is not for performing, not for bragging, not for explaining, not for convincing, not for seeking validation. This is the season where you quietly rebuild your mind, rewire your habits, reset your standards, reclaim your identity, rearrange your priorities, and no one needs to understand a damn thing about it. Silence is your sanctuary. It's where clarity lives. It's where intuition speaks. It's where breakthroughs breathe. Noise, external and internal, dilutes your power. It makes you doubt yourself. It distracts you. It drains you. Silence focuses you. It sharpens your vision. It strengthens your self-trust. It reconnects you with the voice of your future self, the one who's been calling you this whole time. Let's talk about envy for a moment. People envy what they don't understand. They envy what they can't control. They envy what they can't predict. And the fastest way to attract envy is to announce growth before it's stable. But when you move in silence, you become unpredictable, mysteriously powerful. Your results speak louder than any announcement ever could. Your transformation becomes undeniable. Your glow becomes unexplainable. People start whispering, "How did they do it?" And the beautiful part is, they'll never know, because you built it in secret. Now, let's talk about self-noise, the chatter in your head. Your mind repeats old stories. You're not ready. You're not capable. What if you fail? What will people say? Oh God, what if they're right? Those thoughts are echoes from an outdated version of you. That version is dying. Stop letting their voice run the show. Silence gives you space to separate your current self from your former self. Silence is where you ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? Who am I without the opinions of others? What do I need to walk away from? What am I afraid to start? What am I afraid to lose? Who do I become if I stop seeking validation? These questions aren't meant for the world to answer. They're meant for you to sit with in stillness. When you move in silence, you stop performing identity and start living truth. You start noticing things you used to ignore. Who drains you? Who inspires you? What habits sabotage you? What environments keep you small? What situations no longer align? What behaviors you inherited but never questioned? Silence reveals everything. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. That's why people fear silence. It forces self-awareness. It exposes patterns. It confronts you with the reality you've been avoiding. It asks you to choose a higher version of yourself every single day. The new you is born in that stillness. You're not disappearing, you're preparing. You're not becoming quiet, you're becoming focused. You're not hiding, you're incubating greatness. And trust me, when your results finally show up, the noise becomes unnecessary. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to defend your dreams. You don't have to announce your moves. People will feel the shift. Your aura will tell the story. Your life will become the evidence. So, from this point forward, stop announcing. Start aligning. Stop explaining. Start executing. Stop broadcasting. Start becoming. Because the version of you that moves in silence becomes the version of you the world can't ignore. Chapter 6. Becoming impossible to manipulate. Most people think manipulation is something only weak or naive people fall for. But the truth is darker. You get manipulated when you don't fully know yourself yet. Manipulation doesn't start with someone else controlling you. It starts with you doubting your own voice. Let's break that wide open. Every manipulator uses the same three weapons: your fear, your wounds, and your need to be understood. If someone can trigger your fear, poke at your unhealed parts, or make you crave their approval, they can control your choices. And the quickest way to stop manipulation is to build a version of yourself who no longer moves from fear, wounds, or validation. That's what this chapter is about. Self-mastery, so deep that nobody can move you unless you decide to shift. 1. Manipulation loses power when you stop needing to be liked. Here's a hard truth most people never admit. You're easier to control when you're afraid of disappointing people, when you're scared of conflict, when you're scared of being misunderstood, when you're scared of someone being mad at you. People can push you around like you're a character in their script. Manipulators smell that fear. They feed on it. But once you stop chasing approval, you become dangerous. You start saying no without explanation. You start walking away without guilt. You start choosing yourself without hesitation. And suddenly, nobody can guilt trip you anymore. 2. Your boundaries teach people who they're allowed to be with you. Weak boundaries attract strong manipulators. Strong boundaries scare them away. It's not about walls, it's about clarity. Boundary energy sounds like this. No, that doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I won't discuss this again. I'm done explaining myself. You don't need to fight. You don't need to yell. You don't need to convince. You just need to be consistent. Manipulators hate consistency because they survive off chaos. If they can't destabilize you, they can't control you. End quote. 3. Emotional self-regulation is the ultimate power. You want to be unshakable? Learn to control your emotional reactions. Because manipulators study your triggers. What makes you angry? What makes you sad? What makes you insecure? What makes you panic? What makes you chase? What makes you fold? But once you master your inner world, your emotions become a choice, not a reaction. They can't distract you. They can't bait you. They can't pull you into emotional chess. They can't use silence, withholding, mixed signals, or guilt to get inside your head. Because you stopped handing out access. When you control your emotions, you control the room. You control the narrative. You control yourself. And that makes you unstoppable. 4. Self-validation makes manipulation impossible. You know why you used to fall for lies, half-truths, gaslighting, and guilt? Because you needed outside approval to confirm your worth. You needed reassurance. You needed someone to tell you you weren't crazy. You needed someone to tell you you weren't asking for too much. You needed someone to tell you you were lovable. Manipulators weaponize that need. But once you validate yourself, once you trust your intuition without second-guessing, once you know what you bring to the table, once you know what you deserve, no one can convince you otherwise. Gaslighting doesn't work on self-aware people. Deception doesn't work on intuitive people. Love bombing doesn't work on emotionally grounded people. Control doesn't work on people who know their value. Because when you believe you're enough, no one can convince you you're not. 5. Reading people is a survival skill. Being impossible to manipulate requires learning how to see people beyond the surface. Look for patterns, not apologies. Look for intentions, not words. Look for consistency, not charm. Look for energy, not presentation. People show you who they are through repetition. And when someone shows you manipulation once, they didn't make a mistake. They revealed a strategy. Your job isn't to fix them. Your job is to exit the environment. You cannot heal a relationship built on control. You cannot negotiate with manipulation. You cannot build trust with someone who benefits from your confusion. Walk away clean. Walk away early. Walk away without second guessing. 6. Silence is your sharpest weapon. Manipulators thrive on reaction. They need access to your emotions to shape your behavior. But when you give nothing, when you don't respond to bait, when you don't rise to the chaos, when you don't explain, defend, or justify, you become unreadable. And unreadable people are uncontrollable. Silence is clarity. Silence is protection. Silence is emotional armor. Respond only with intention, never with impulse. 7. The final evolution. Becoming internally anchored. The highest level of self-mastery is this. Your sense of identity. No longer moves based on external forces. People can praise you, you stay grounded. People can doubt you, you stay grounded. People can leave, you stay grounded. People can manipulate, pressure, guilt, or judge, and you stay rooted. Because you don't belong to the world anymore. You belong to yourself. That's what makes you unmanipulatable. Not hardness, not coldness, not distance, but inner stability, a calm mind, a grounded spirit, a healed heart, a strong intuition, a clear identity, a steady, emotional core. When you reach that state, no one can touch you, not spiritually, not emotionally, not mentally. You become unshakable. And the version of you who is unshakable moves through life with a power that can't be faked. Chapter 7. The Season of Isolation. Your upgrade phase. There comes a moment in everyone's life where everything gets quiet. People fall away. Opportunities slow down. Your phone stops ringing. You stop feeling understood. Life feels paused, suspended, like you're floating between chapters with no clear direction. And it's tempting to think something is wrong with you. But let me tell you a truth most people never understand. Isolation is not punishment, it's preparation. When life pulls you away from the world, it's because the world no longer matches the frequency you're growing into. Isolation is the cocoon, the sacred pause, the spiritual reset, the divine construction zone where the old you gets dismantled and the upgraded you gets built. This period feels lonely, but it's not loneliness, it's alignment. It feels silent, but it's not silence, it's recalibration. It feels empty, but it's not emptiness, it's making space. The universe removes everything that cannot go with you into your next chapter. People, patterns, distractions, attachments, comfort zones, old identities, outdated versions of you that you held on to long after they expired. This season isn't meant to break you. It's meant to strip you of what's blocking you. Let's go deeper. 1. Isolation is where you meet the real you. When the noise is gone, when the people are gone, when the distractions are gone, when the comfort is gone, you're left with yourself, your thoughts, your desires, your wounds, your intuition, your truth. The real you finally has room to speak. And at first, that voice feels unfamiliar because you've ignored it for so long. But slowly, the messages get clearer. This isn't who I want to be anymore. I deserve more. I'm capable of more. This chapter is over. It's time to level up. I have to let go. I'm ready. This season reconnects you to the person you were before the world told you who to be. And 2. Isolation protects you while you evolve. Think about a phone updating its entire system. It can't run apps. It can't take calls. It can't operate normally. It goes offline while the internal upgrades install. That's you. Your spirit is updating. Your mind is rewiring. Your identity is shifting. Your purpose is activating. You can't be surrounded by noise during this process. You can't be accessible to everyone. You can't stay in environments that match your old energy. The universe isolates you to protect the upgrade. 3. Isolation exposes what you are using as a distraction. When life gets quiet, all the avoidance becomes visible. You realize who you only kept around to feel less empty. You realize what habits you use to numb your dissatisfaction. You realize what routines you stayed stuck in just to feel stable. You realize how much of your identity depended on external validation. Isolation forces you to confront the truth. You weren't surrounded. You were distracted. And once the distractions fall away, you begin to see yourself clearly. That clarity is the beginning of transformation. 4. Isolation is the spiritual gym. This is where your mental strength grows. This is where your self-control develops. This is where your discipline sharpens. This is where your emotional intelligence deepens. This is where your faith strengthens. You're being trained in unseen places for blessings you haven't received yet. Your new life requires a sturdier version of you, a more aware, more grounded, more intuitive, more resilient version. Isolation is the training ground. 5. Isolation is preparation for elevation. Everyone wants the glow-up, but nobody wants the solitude that comes first. The glow-up isn't built in public. It's built in quiet mornings, late nights, uncomfortable introspection, difficult decisions, silent breakthroughs, unlearning everything that kept you small. Isolation is not empty, it's the blueprint phase. This is where your new standards form. This is where your new self-image takes shape. This is where your next chapter begins, not when people see it, but when you decide it. 6. The new you doesn't come with old attachments. Everyone can't go with you. Everyone shouldn't go with you. Everyone isn't meant to experience the next level of your life. Elevation requires separation. Some people were only meant to walk with you through a certain season, but not through your transformation. Some relationships are too small for your future. Some environments are too limiting for your purpose. Some habits are too damaging for your growth. When life isolates you, it's because the universe is cleansing your path. You're not losing people, you're losing what would have blocked your evolution. 7. When you emerge, you won't be the same. A butterfly doesn't apologize for leaving the caterpillar life behind. It doesn't explain why it changed. It doesn't justify its new wings. It simply rises. And the caterpillar version of you would never understand the heights the butterfly version is about to reach. When you come out of this season, you'll be built differently, clearer, stronger, calmer, more confident, more aligned, less reactive, more intuitive, less available, more intentional. You won't chase. You won't beg. You won't break yourself to be understood. You won't tolerate chaos. You won't return to the things that drained you. Isolation didn't weaken you, it refined you. It prepared you. It purified you. It upgraded you. And when the universe reintroduces you to the world, they won't recognize you, but you will recognize yourself. Chapter 8. What you don't heal, you repeat. There is a cycle in your life you keep walking into, even when you swear you're done, even when you promise yourself this time will be different, even when you pray, journal, cry, or scream your way into change. But somehow the same type of people, the same emotional triggers, the same heartbreak, the same self-sabotage, the same disappointment, the same patterns keep coming back wearing different faces. It's not because you're cursed. It's not because the universe hates you. It's not because you're unlucky. It's because you haven't healed the wound that keeps choosing for you. Let me say that again. Until you heal, your wounds will pick your relationships, your habits, your reactions, and your reality. You think you're making conscious decisions, but your unhealed parts are doing the choosing. Let's go deeper. 1. Your unhealed wounds distort your perception. When you're unhealed, you don't see people as they are, you see them through the lens of your past pain. You mistake bare minimum for effort. You mistake chaos for passion. You mistake inconsistency for mystery. You mistake emotional unavailability for a challenge. You mistake manipulation for love. Your wounds filter every experience. They tell your brain, this is familiar, choose it. This reminds us of before, go toward it. This feels known, chase it. But familiar doesn't mean healthy. Known doesn't mean right. Comfortable doesn't mean aligned. Your unhealed self seeks what hurt you because pain feels like home. Not because it's good, but because it's recognizable. You repeat what you haven't resolved. 2. Healing isn't about the past, it's about breaking the pattern. People think healing means forgiving someone or letting go of old memories. But real healing happens when you stop recreating the same emotional environment. It's in the moment you say, I don't chase this anymore. I don't tolerate this anymore. I don't accept this anymore. This feeling is familiar, so that means it's dangerous. This person reminds me of an old wound, not a future blessing. Healing is pattern interruption. It's the courage to choose differently even when your body craves the old cycle. Because cycles don't break through awareness alone, they break through action. 3. Trauma has a comfort zone. Healing does not. The person you were when you got hurt built habits for survival. They learned to avoid, to overthink, to cling, to detach, to people please, to silence themselves, to numb emotions, to minimize needs. Those strategies worked back then, but they're destroying your present. Healing feels uncomfortable because it asks you to abandon the identity that kept you safe. It asks you to speak up when silence used to protect you. It asks you to receive love when you're used to earning it. It asks you to trust when betrayal shaped your worldview. It asks you to stay steady when your instinct is to run. It asks you to let go when you're used to holding on longer than you should. Healing is a rebellion against everything your wounded self learned. It's not supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to feel new. And 4. The universe will repeat the lesson until you master it. This is the part that stings but sets you free. When you keep meeting the same type of person, when you keep falling into the same heartbreak, when you keep sabotaging your progress, when you keep hesitating at the same point, it's not life punishing you. It's life trying to show you the exact place you need to heal. That's why the pattern recycles. Not to break you, but to wake you. Every repeated cycle is a message. The growth you are avoiding is the growth that will set you free. 5. Healing requires brutal honesty with yourself. Ask yourself, why do I choose people who don't choose me back? Why do I feel safer in chaos than in peace? Why do I stay in situations that drain me? Why do I ignore red flags I know too well? Why do I overgive, overextend, or overcompensate? Why do I fear healthy love? Why do I push away good things? Why do I shrink when I should stand tall? These answers won't be pretty. They won't be soft. They won't be easy. But they will be liberating. Self-honesty is the first step toward breaking every cycle. 6. Healing is choosing the unfamiliar. You won't heal by entering rooms your wounds feel comfortable in. You won't heal by chasing what traumatized you. You won't heal by repeating old habits with new faces. You won't heal by trying to prove your worth to people who don't value you. You won't heal by convincing someone to treat you the way you deserve. Healing is choosing new patterns, even when your body whispers, go back, go back, go back. It's saying, no more trauma bonds. No more almost love. No more self-abandonment. No more ignoring my intuition. No more staying where my soul is starving. Healing is choosing the unknown, because the known has been hurting you. Number 7. When you heal, your entire life changes. Your standards rise. Your relationships shift. Your boundaries strengthen. Your goals evolve. Your energy elevates. Your intuition sharpens. Your patterns disappear. Your peace expands. You stop repeating cycles you once thought were destiny. You stop craving people who would have destroyed you. You stop entertaining situations beneath who you're becoming. You stop mistaking pain for purpose. You stop choosing wounded versions of life. You rise into a healed version of yourself, and your whole world rearranges around that elevation. Here's the core truth of this chapter. What you don't heal will continue choosing for you. But once you heal, you choose. And that's when life finally changes. Chapter 9. Your energy is your reputation. Before people hear you speak, before they read your intentions, before they understand your story, they feel you. Your energy walks into every room before you do. It introduces you. It speaks for you. It warns for you. It exposes you. It protects you. It attracts for you. It repels for you. Your energy is your real reputation, not the image you post, not the persona you perform, not the version of you you curate online, but the frequency you carry in silence, the vibration your soul gives off without trying. And whether you realize it or not, people respond to your energy long before they respond to your words. Let's break that down. 1. People can feel if you respect yourself. Self-respect is not something you say, it's something your energy announces. You can be quiet, humble, gentle, soft-spoken, and still carry an energy that says, I don't tolerate disrespect. I know my worth. I won't shrink. I won't settle. You can't play with me. People pick up on that. You don't have to perform it. It radiates. And the wild part? People treat you based on the energy you carry about yourself. If your energy says insecure, they'll sense it. If your energy says desperate, they'll exploit it. If your energy says unsure, they'll test it. If your energy says powerful, they'll respect it, even if they don't like you. Energy is louder than identity, too. Your energy exposes your relationship with yourself. You can fake confidence with your words, but you can't fake confidence with your vibration. You can fake happiness online, but you can't fake peace in your presence. You can pretend you're healed, but your energy will show where you still bleed. Your energy is a mirror. It reveals your self-belief, your wounds, your fear, your intentions, your boundaries, your faith, your discipline, your shame, your authenticity. People feel what you've been trying to hide. That's why some people instantly trust you and others instantly target you. Your energy announces what your mouth tries to conceal. 3. Energy is communication without language. Ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension, or peace, or heaviness, or warmth? That wasn't intuition. That was energy speaking. Energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't stutter. Energy doesn't filter. Energy doesn't fake. You can say, I'm fine, but your energy says, I'm exhausted. You can say, I'm over it, but your energy says, I'm still hurting. You can say, I'm confident, but your energy says, I'm scared. And people respond accordingly. Your energy tells the story your ego refuses to admit. 4. When your energy shifts, your life shifts. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That's why you stop attracting low-vibration people when you heal. That's why you stop tolerating disrespect when your self-worth rises. That's why certain relationships break when your frequency grows. That's why new opportunities find you when you align with your purpose. Energy is a magnet. Once you elevate your vibration, your environment, relationships, and life have no choice but to reflect it. This is why leveling up internally is more important than chasing external results. You don't get a better life by hustling harder, you get it by becoming the version of you who can receive it. 5. Protecting your energy is a survival skill. Your energy is currency. Your energy is protection. Your energy is power. So, stop giving it to people who drain you. Stop giving access to people who haven't earned it. Stop entertaining situations that lower your vibration. Stop forcing yourself into spaces that feel heavy. Stop explaining your boundaries to people who benefit from you having none. Your energy is too expensive to spend on the wrong people. Protecting it is not selfish, it's sacred. 6. Your energy teaches people how to treat you. If your energy says, I'm okay with being last, they'll put you last. If your energy says, I'll tolerate chaos, chaos will find you. If your energy says, I settle because I don't think I deserve more, people will give you less. But when your energy says, I expect respect, I expect consistency, I expect effort, I expect honesty, I expect reciprocity, I expect peace. Your entire social circle restructures itself. People who can't meet those expectations fall away. People who align with that energy show up. People who function in low vibration no longer understand you. Your rise becomes non-negotiable. 7. Your energy becomes unstoppable when it becomes intentional. When you no longer move from insecurity, but from self-worth. When you no longer react emotionally, but respond consciously. When you no longer chase validation, but validate yourself internally. When you no longer force connection, but allow alignment, something shifts. Your energy becomes sharp, clear, grounded, magnetic, unbothered, focused, unshakable. People feel it. Opportunities feel it. Life feels it. Your energy becomes your strongest asset, because when your vibration rises, your reality rises with it. Here's the truth this chapter wants to tattoo on your spirit. Your energy introduces you before your mouth opens. Make sure it says what your soul intends. Chapter 10. Stop shrinking to fit rooms you outgrew. There's a version of you that learned how to fold, how to dim, how to stay small, to keep the peace, how to hide your power to protect other people's insecurities, how to tone yourself down because someone once told you that you were too much. And for a long time, shrinking was survival. Shrinking kept you accepted. Shrinking kept you safe. Shrinking kept you comfortable. Shrinking kept you from being abandoned. But now, you're older, wiser, stronger, more self-aware, more connected to your purpose. And shrinking is no longer protection, it's suffocation. You're outgrowing rooms you keep forcing yourself to fit inside of. Rooms where you're not allowed to evolve. Rooms where your ambition looks like arrogance. Rooms where your confidence is misinterpreted as attitude. Rooms where your dreams make people uncomfortable. Rooms where your growth threatens the stability of people who want you stuck where they met you. Let me make this painfully clear. The rooms you outgrow will always feel too small for your spirit. You feel it in your body, that restlessness, the boredom, the frustration, the spiritual claustrophobia, the intuition whispering, you don't belong here anymore. Those feelings aren't random, they're warnings. Your soul will always alert you when you've stayed somewhere too long. Let's break this down. 1. Your growth makes people uncomfortable who benefit from your old self. Some people only liked you when you doubted yourself, when you were easy to manipulate, when you needed them more than they needed you, when you had no boundaries, when you didn't know your worth. The moment you rise, they feel misplaced. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your strength threatens their control. Your confidence highlights their insecurity. And because they don't want to grow, they'd rather you shrink. But that's not your assignment anymore. You're not here to protect their comfort. You're here to protect your calling. 2. You can't elevate in environments built for a smaller version of you. You can't heal in the same room that hurt you. You can't evolve in the same energy that broke you. You can't expand around people who fear your expansion. You can't rise in environments where you're required to dim your shine. Growth demands space. Space to think. Space to change. Space to unlearn. Space to rebuild. Space to become the person you're destined to be. And sometimes, the only way to get that space is to walk away from rooms that no longer match your identity. 3. Your elevation requires new standards, and not everyone can meet them. As you grow, your standards shift. You stop tolerating inconsistency. You stop accepting breadcrumbs. You stop giving chances to people who don't value you. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop chasing connections that drain you. You stop participating in conversations that lower your vibration. Your new standards won't fit your old life. And that's okay. You were never meant to stay where you started. 4. You don't owe anyone the smaller version of you. Not your friends, not your family, not your partner, not your past, not your environment, not your history. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself that made them comfortable. You only owe yourself the version of you that makes you whole. People will guilt you for growing. They'll try to shrink you back into roles you've outgrown. They'll act confused when you start setting boundaries. They'll take your elevation personally. But you're not responsible for how other people feel about your growth. Their discomfort is not your burden. Their insecurity is not your assignment. Their resistance is not your problem. 5. The moment you stop shrinking, everything shifts. Your posture changes. Your voice deepens. Your confidence rises. Your standards solidify. Your relationships evolve. Your opportunities expand. Your energy becomes magnetic. Your aura becomes undeniable. Because the real you, the unfiltered, unshrunk, unapologetic you, is powerful. You were never meant to be small. You were never meant to dim. You were never meant to live in rooms that can't hold your capacity. Your growth is not arrogance. Your confidence is not attitude. Your evolution is not betrayal. It's alignment. And aligned people cannot stay in misaligned environments. 6. Your next level requires a new environment. Every elevation comes with separation. Every glow-up comes with detachment. Every transformation comes with a shedding. You're not leaving people behind, you're simply not staying with those who refuse to rise with you. You don't belong in rooms that require your silence to fit in. You don't belong in spaces that demand your shrinking to feel comfortable. You don't belong in environments that punish your authenticity. You belong where your spirit can breathe, where your purpose can thrive, where your potential is not a threat but a gift, where your evolution is celebrated, not questioned. You belong in rooms big enough for your becoming. Here's the truth this chapter wants you to claim. Stop shrinking to fit rooms you outgrew. You weren't made for small spaces. You were made for expansion. And it's time to walk into the spaces that can hold the fullness of who you're becoming. Chapter 11. Self-sabotage, the enemy inside. Everyone talks about enemies like they're outside of you, the doubters, the critics, the haters, the people who left, the ones who betrayed you. But the truth is uncomfortable. The most dangerous enemy is the one living in your own mind. Self-sabotage is quiet. It's subtle. It's disguised as protection. It whispers instead of screams. It hides behind logic and fear and timing. And the wildest part? You think you're holding yourself back for safety, but you're really holding yourself back out of habit. Let's break open this pattern. 1. Self-sabotage is the brain protecting you from unfamiliar success. The human mind loves routine, even if the routine is destroying you. If chaos is what you grew up around, peace will feel threatening. If emotional neglect shaped your childhood, healthy love will feel suspicious. If dysfunction was your normal, stability will feel boring. If failure was familiar, success will feel terrifying. Your mind doesn't care about what's right, it cares about what's known. So when you try to level up, your brain panics. This is unfamiliar. This doesn't feel safe. We've never been here before. We should go back to what we understand. That panic becomes self-sabotage. 2. You don't sabotage because you're weak. You sabotage because you're scared. Scared of failing. Scared of succeeding. Scared of being seen. Scared of being misunderstood. Scared of not being enough. Scared of being too much. Scared of outgrowing people. Scared of disappointing people. Scared of losing people. Scared of becoming someone your old life won't recognize. Fear drives procrastination. Fear drives inconsistency. Fear drives avoidance. Fear drives perfectionism. Fear drives overthinking. Fear drives settling. Self-sabotage is fear wearing a mask. 3. You sabotage when your identity hasn't caught up to your potential. You want a better life, but deep down, you still believe you don't deserve it. You want success, but you still see yourself as the version of you who struggled. You want love, but you still identify with the version of you who was abandoned. You want confidence, but you still treat yourself like the person who was doubted. You cannot outgrow a life you still identify with. Your identity has to expand before your reality can. 4. Self-sabotage shows up in the smallest habits. It's not always big dramatic breakdowns. It's the tiny decisions that drain your future. Saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Starting things, but never finishing. Overthinking instead of acting. Choosing comfort instead of progress. Going back to people you outgrew. Settling for almost love instead of real love. Getting inconsistent the moment life starts improving. Quitting right before the breakthrough. Self-sabotage is death by 1,000 small decisions. Number 5. You repeat sabotage when you avoid the root wound. Every sabotage pattern is connected to one core wound: abandonment, rejection, shame, neglect, not feeling chosen, not feeling valued, not feeling safe, not feeling seen. You don't sabotage because you can't do better. You sabotage because your wound is deciding for you. And until you heal that wound, it will continue choosing people, situations, and outcomes that match your pain. What hurts you becomes what you chase until you break the cycle. 6. Healing self-sabotage requires radical self-awareness. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I actually succeed? What version of me am I still loyal to? Where did I learn to doubt myself? What am I protecting myself from? Who told me I wasn't enough, and why do I still believe them? Why does failure feel safer than growth? What do I gain by holding myself back? The answers might shake you, but they'll also free you. Because once you understand the fear, you can overcome the pattern. 7. The antidote to self-sabotage is self-trust. Not motivation, not confidence, not discipline alone. Self-trust. The belief that you can handle what comes. The belief that you can rise to the occasion. The belief that you can survive discomfort. The belief that you can succeed without losing yourself. The belief that you can grow without collapsing. The belief that you are worthy of more. Self-trust is built by small promises kept, showing up for yourself, following through, choosing the healthy option, taking uncomfortable action, walking away from what hurts, being consistent even when you're scared. Every moment you choose alignment over avoidance, your self-trust grows and your self-sabotage weakens. Number 8. Once you stop sabotaging yourself, your life accelerates fast. Opportunities stick, habits stabilize, relationships strengthen, dreams become reachable. Money flows differently. Your confidence rises. Your identity evolves. Life rewards the version of you that stops working against yourself. Self-sabotage was never the enemy. It was the unhealed you trying to protect you. But the healed you, they don't need protection. They need expansion. And you're ready for that expansion now. Here's the truth this chapter leaves you with. Your life stops repeating the moment you stop sabotaging the version of you you're becoming. You're not scared, you're transforming. Chapter 12. Don't chase. Attract. There is a moment in everyone's life when they finally get tired. Tired of forcing. Tired of begging. Tired of chasing people, opportunities, validation, and outcomes that don't fit them. Tired of stretching themselves into shapes their soul was never meant to hold. And in that moment, something shifts. You stop chasing, and life starts flowing. This chapter is about the power of alignment, the art of becoming someone so grounded, so intentional, so elevated, that the things meant for you have no choice but to find you. Because the truth is simple. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let's slow down and unpack that. 2-1. Chasing is rooted in scarcity. Attracting is rooted in abundance. When you chase, your energy is saying, I don't believe I can have this, without forcing it. I don't trust that good things flow toward me. I have to prove I'm worthy. I need this, or I'll lose myself. I'm afraid there won't be another chance. Scarcity creates panic. Panic creates desperation. Desperation creates misalignment. And misalignment creates loss. But when you shift into abundance, your energy says, I'm not afraid of missing out. What's mine will find me. I don't need to force connections. I attract what aligns with my frequency. My presence is the magnet. Abundance creates calm. Calm creates clarity. Clarity creates attraction. You don't chase in abundance, you receive in 2. Attraction begins with identity, not effort. You've been told to work harder, try harder, push harder, strive harder. But attraction has nothing to do with force and everything to do with alignment. Ask yourself, would the best version of me chase this? Would the healed version of me settle for this? Would the wealthy version of me panic over this? Would the confident version of me beg for this? Would the destined version of me force this? No, because the highest version of you doesn't run after anything, they draw it in. The people, opportunities, relationships, blessings, and breakthroughs meant for you vibrate on the same frequency as the identity you step into. You become the magnet. Your life becomes the attraction field. 3. Your energy creates invitations. Look at nature. Flowers don't chase bees. Stars don't chase the night sky. Oceans don't chase rivers. A flame doesn't chase attention, it draws eyes to its glow. Everything that is aligned with its essence naturally attracts what belongs to it. Your energy is the same. When your aura is calm, your boundaries are clear, your self-worth is intact, your standards are rooted, your intentions are aligned, people feel it. Opportunities feel it. The universe feels it. You stop over-explaining. You stop convincing. You stop marketing your value like a clearance sale. You stop lowering yourself to be chosen. Your energy becomes the invitation, not the chase. 4. What you chase, you signal you don't have. When you chase love, you signal lack of self-love. When you chase validation, you signal insecurity. When you chase money, you signal fear. When you chase opportunities, you signal inadequacy. When you chase attention, you signal emptiness. The universe mirrors your internal state. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're not enough, you'll attract situations that prove it. If you believe you're chosen, you attract experiences that reflect that. Belief is the foundation of attraction. 5. Attraction is a spiritual partnership with the universe. When you stop forcing and start aligning, you step into a flow that feels divine. People call it luck, but it's really alignment. The universe rearranges itself around your energy. You meet the right people at the right time. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. Doors open where walls used to be. Things that felt impossible begin to make sense. This is the reward of becoming magnetic. You stop running toward things, and things start running toward you. 6. To attract differently, you must become differently. Ask yourself, what version of me am I attracting from? The wounded version? The lonely version? The insecure version? The abandoned version? The desperate version? The overgiving version? The unhealed version? Or the confident version? The healed version? The disciplined version? The aligned version? The abundant version? The self-respecting version? Your attraction changes the moment your identity changes. Your standards change. Your habits change. Your energy changes. Your boundaries change. Your expectations change. Your environment changes. And when you change, your life follows. 7. Letting go is part of attraction. If you're holding on tightly to things not meant for you, your hands aren't open to receive what is meant for you. Attraction requires release. Releasing, forcing. Releasing, chasing. Releasing, begging. Releasing, proving. Releasing the need to be chosen. Releasing low-vibration people. Releasing outdated identity. Releasing what hurts. When you let go of what drains you, you make room for what grows you. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop gripping, you start receiving. When you stop doubting, you start aligning. Let go, so the right things can come. Here's the truth this chapter wants you to hold close. What you want is already looking for you. It just needs you to stop running and become still enough to be found. You don't chase anymore. You attract. Chapter 13. The life you want is built in the dark. Everybody wants the glow up. Everybody wants the results. Everybody wants the success, the discipline, the confidence, the peace, the money, the alignment, the healed version of themselves. But nobody wants the dark. Nobody wants the nights where nobody claps. Nobody wants the mornings where you drag yourself out of old habits. Nobody wants the silence where your thoughts get loud. Nobody wants the loneliness that comes with leaving your old life behind. Nobody wants the discomfort of becoming someone new when your past is still crying for attention. But here's something most people never learn. The life you want is not built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows, when no one is watching. Let's break that all the way down. 1. The dark is where your real transformation happens. It doesn't happen the day you succeed, it happens long before that. It happens on the nights you decide not to give up. It happens in the moments you break a pattern no one even knew was hurting you. It happens when you choose discipline when motivation is gone. It happens when you walk away from people who don't clap for you. It happens when you outgrow the version of you that once kept you safe. The dark is not punishment. It's rebirth. You're shedding, rebuilding, rewiring, resetting, reconstructing your entire identity from the inside out. Light doesn't change you, darkness does. 2. Your private battles determine your public blessings. Everybody sees the success. Nobody sees the self-confrontation. People will praise the level up they never had to survive. They'll admire the confidence that nearly cost you your sanity. They'll want the glow without the grief. They'll want the elevation without the isolation. But what they don't understand is, everything you receive in the light is earned in the dark. Your healing? Built in the dark. Your strength? Forged in the dark. Your discipline? Shaped in the dark. Your identity? Formed in the dark. Your resilience? Trained in the dark. The dark is where you fight the version of you that doesn't want to change. And that battle is sacred. 3. The dark breaks who you used to be. And that's the point. You cannot carry your old self into your new life. You cannot elevate while gripping the habits that hurt you. You cannot evolve while replaying memories that limit you. You cannot receive abundance with a scarcity mindset. You cannot experience peace with a chaotic identity. You cannot step into your calling while still worshiping your comfort zone. So the dark dismantles you. It breaks the attachments. It breaks the delusions. It breaks the denial. It breaks the identity that's too small for your future. It feels like loss, but it's really liberation. 4. The dark is where your highest self meets you. When everything slows down, when old friendships fade, when distractions fall apart, when the world stops applauding, when your phone gets quiet, when life feels stripped and empty, that's when your intuition gets loud. That's when your higher self whispers, "Good. Now I can talk to you. Now you can hear me. Now we can rebuild. Now we can align. Now we can rise." Your highest self speaks clearest in the dark because you're no longer performing. You're listening. 5. The dark is the training ground for the person you're becoming. This chapter of your life is not meant to be aesthetic. It's meant to be transformative. In the dark, you face yourself. You observe your patterns. You confront your denial. You sit with your truth. You make new choices. You set new standards. You build new habits. You rewrite your self-image. You redefine your narrative. This is the part no one sees, but it's the part that changes everything. Because once you come out of the dark, you're unrecognizable even to yourself. 6. The dark builds the kind of strength people call mysterious. Ever meet someone calm in chaos, unbothered in confusion, grounded in uncertainty, confident without being loud, peaceful without being passive, focused without being frantic? They didn't learn that in the light. They learned that in the dark. During the nights they cried and still chose discipline. During the mornings they didn't want to get up and still got up. During the heartbreaks they didn't think they'd survive. During the chapters that felt like endings but were really rebirths. That calm, that strength, that wisdom, that intuition, it was earned to 7. When you emerge from the dark, nothing can break you. Not people, not opinions, not fear, not failure, not uncertainty, not old triggers, not old patterns. Because the dark didn't just change your habits, it changed your identity. You don't just become stronger, you become clearer, more intentional, more aligned, more magnetic, more self-aware, more grounded, more powerful. The life you want meets that version of you, the one built in the dark. Here's the truth this chapter gives you. You're not struggling, you're constructing. You're not breaking, you're becoming. You're not lost, you're in the dark, where the new you is taking shape. Stay in the process. Stay in the silence. Stay in the rebuilding. Because when you come out of this season, nothing, and I mean nothing, will look the same.